Hey everyone,
Hey everyone.
I'm Kiaya, Thrifty Redhead on Instagram.
I'm Caitlin. Did I thrift that closet on Instagram?
And welcome to Flip That Jawn.
We are two full-time resellers from Philly, and this is a weekly podcast that explores the ins and outs of reselling while linking arms with the reselling community to help grow and learn from each other.
We're excited to connect with you and new voices that will help to inspire and motivate you in your reselling journey. Join us as we learn more about ourselves, each other, and our ever-growing awesome reselling community.
Hey y'all, and welcome to episode 8 of Flip That Jawn podcast. This month, Flip That Jawn podcast is all about sharing the spotlight on boss-ass women and women entrepreneurship, with Kiaya and I bringing on more special guests for our Reseller Story Series. A Reseller Story Series is where we talk and learn from fellow resellers in our community to help grow, learn, and of course, link arms with the community. Today for a Reseller Story, we talk with our friend Lauren, aka Pigeon City Thrift on Instagram, from the process and work behind being an Instagram reseller to amazing ways to connect back with your community and use social media in a healthy manner. This episode is a must listen to if you are looking to expand into the Instagram reselling world, and it's just a fun time as well, providing knowledge and encouragement for all women to come to the table. Make sure you drop her a follow and connect with her at the links below to show support and continue the conversation with her. And with that being said, let's get ready to take flight with Lauren from Pigeon City Thrift. Lauren, thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Lauren, we like to start off with like some fast facts here, like whatever you feel like doing.
Yes. Hello. My name is Lauren, and I run Pigeon City Thrift exclusively on Instagram. So that's just at Pigeon City Thrift. I live in New York City. And I started this business back in July. That's how I met Caitlin. And I'm originally from North Carolina.
I want to know, how did you get the name Pigeon City Thrift? Because that is very intriguing.
That's an excellent question. An interesting fact, or maybe it's not interesting. Maybe it's completely mundane. But my favorite animal is pigeons, which is, I think I'm like the only person in New York City who appreciates their worth.
I was gonna say,
it's like people fucking hate them. I don't know, but like I just think they're like the prettiest, goofiest looking bird. Like, just spend some time watching pigeons. Anyway, so I love pigeons. When I say that, I sound like a lunatic, and I understand that. One time, I'm sorry, like sidebar nation, but like one time, like when I first moved to New York and I was looking for a job, I had an interview for one of those like babysitting networks, like it's kind of like a babysitting
Share.com or something
agent
like that.
or something. Yeah, but like I had to go in person, and then they would put you on and then they would like match you with a family, right? So I was looking for a job, and I'm just like A1 awkward. So when in the interview, it was just kind of like similar. They were like, so, okay, well, tell me something interesting about yourself. And I'm apparently like the world's least interesting person, because all I could think of was like, I love pigeons. And like no one spoke for like a solid 5 seconds, and like it was like we were like in an office, and I heard someone laugh from like behind the other cubicle. And I did not get the job. So like, don't mention your love of street birds when you're interviewing to take care of children, I suppose. But so back on track. So pigeons are my favorite. They're just so funny. And I live in New York. And when I decided that I wanted to do my Instagram thrift shop, wanted it to reflect that I live in the city, because I think that's sort of like, I think that's a selling point in some regards, because people who've never been to New York City kind of like hold it to like a higher, like it's kind of like a magical place, you know, to think of just like a New York City. So I wanted to reflect that I'm selling things that are sourced from the city, because that kind of sounds like cool. But I didn't want to do something so cliche as like Big Apple thrift or like Empire thrift, you know? So it kind of, I didn't even think that hard about it. It just like the name came to me as Pigeon City Thrift. And I kind of played around with it being like City Pigeon Thrift or Pigeon City Thrift, because it's just, this is the Pigeon City. And I just knew that it was the perfect blend of like me, but also like reflecting that I'm in NYC. It's the first thing in my little like brain egg of an idea. It's the first thing that I knew was the name, and then I figured everything else out. To be honest.
my God.
Thank you for your question, Kiaya.
I love that though. I feel like it's very unique and it's very authentic. It really it represents you. So I think that's really good. So when people like say like, where'd you get that? Like Pigeon City Thrift.
Yes.
I can see me saying that.
and they're just like birds in general. They just make me happy. I have this like big bookshelf in our living room, and my partner has his I think his mom came over like a couple months ago, and I wasn't home, and she's just like, "What's with all the birds?" And then he told me about that, and I was like, "Oh shit, is it that obvious?" Like I thought I had them spread out enough, but
all of a sudden, content change. We're gonna just talk about pigeons.
This is a new podcast now. I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry. It does make sense because it is New York City. I'm not gonna lie. New York City scares me. It intimidates me. Like it's so big, and even though we live in Philly, I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like I get lost all the time.
Yeah,
in New York. I totally understand that. I felt the same thing when I moved here, but in reality, it's tiny. I live in Manhattan. It's a tiny island. It can be overwhelming for sure, but you get the hang of it. To be honest, Philly scares me more than New York. Like
I was gonna say driving.
Shut up,
Kiaya.
Oh my God.
Lauren almost killed me twice.
Okay, I'm so embarrassed.
You said she almost did what?
She almost killed me twice. Lauren. No,
I am so embarrassed about this because
it was great.
A really good driver. I'm a really good driver. So Kiaya, I don't know if you know this, but so off track. But
I mean that with Lauren. I just want to say I mean that with love, because if I were to die with you, it's okay. I was just like that.
She had to clear that up.
Okay, but so my brother lives in Philly, right? And when I started this like thrift account, I would, started following closets and stuff like that. And I don't even know how Caitlin got on my radar, but when I realized she was in Philly, I like messaged her I was just looking for friends, I'm like a sad person, but I was like message her and I was just like, I noticed you're in Philly. My brother lives in Philly. I'm there all the time. Like, do you know Philly AIDS Thrift? Because Philly AIDS Thrift is my number one like favorite thrift store in the world. And for my birthday, my brother gives me a Philly AIDS Thrift card every year, even though I don't live in Philly, because I like come to visit him for Philly AIDS Thrift. So I was like,
he's just a casualty.
Exactly. He just like has a place to stay. I messaged Caitlin and I was just like, do you know this? Like, I love it. Do you go there? And of course, Caitlin, being who she is, was like Insta friend, like back to the summer, my friend Alex and I wanted to go to a thrift trip to Philly, because I had just at the start of my business, I brought my dad's car up to the city. So I have a car in the city, which I don't recommend, but it definitely helps with the business end of. So like we drove to Philly and I texted Caitlin. I was like, I'm gonna be in your hood. Like, let's meet up. And so I pick her up. Oh, first of all, I had to tell my friend, okay, so I met this girl online.
Yeah. It was the
And
day I moved too. I was like the day before I was moving, you're like, I'm in your city, and I was like,
so I had to tell my friend, I met this girl online and we're gonna go pick her up. And he's like, is she cool? Like, do you know her? I'm like, I don't really know her, but I know she's cool. This is why I hate Philly more. I don't like Philly as much as the streets are fucking horrible to drive on. So when I'm not a bad driver, but like I was hitting like every single pothole. People were coming out of nowhere. I like tried to parallel park like 20 fucking times, and it just like it was so embarrassing because like
Kiaya.
this person that I had just met over the like, and I was just like making a fool of myself.
No, I loved it. It made the experience 10 times better. Kaya, you know that street by like, by Urban Exchange where it's like all parallel parking?
Yeah.
Me and Alex, we thought you just left Lauren because she went to parallel park there. And we just like, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Lauren, like, and you just drove off and me and Alex were like, did she just leave us here?
I just like, after a certain amount of times of parallel parking, you just have to like flee the scene because it's just too embarrassing.
Nope, I sit there and I wait and I do it. I don't care if it takes me however many times, but I have a van, so I'm just like, if I can't spot it, then I'm probably not going to do it. But I'm good for double parking.
You have a van.
No, it made the experience, Lauren. It was pure entertainment gold. It was fun. I say that with love. It was some of the streets up in there, like in Philly, they're like weird. You know this, Kaya, where it'll be like that weird intersection where you don't really know where the stoplight is, and it's like
is that
5
my
different
fault?
streets,
Like, I don't
and it's like those triangle intersections that are like, wait, what is going on
Yeah,
here?
like Jesse Duncan Snyder, like, dude, who invented this?
Yeah, it's like, why would we think that's a good thing?
Why would you think this is okay?
I don't know. I'm talking shit. I love Philly, though. I do, but driving around is just like, I don't know. I would rather drive around Manhattan than Utah. I caught up. I like did my homework. I'm a very good like guest. I did my homework. I listened to all of your episodes, and so many times I was like wanting to like jump in and be like, oh yeah. And I'm just like, I'm gonna have so much fun recording this because Caitlin, I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before that, but you actually referenced our thrift trip when we were at Urban Exchange and you were asking about that sweatshirt for your friend and they had to like call and be like, yeah, Caitlin's here. I wanted to be like, I was there.
Yes, Lauren was there. I want to dive into that too because during that trip, we can definitely table this to wherever in the interview goes. But in that trip, we were talking about your process of like what you pick up. So I definitely want to go through that because Lauren's got a very cool way of like figuring out what she wants to pick up when she goes in the thrift store versus me, where I was just like, like throwing everything into a cart. We had a lot of fun in that trip.
So what made you just do Instagram? Like, did you ever start off on Poshmark, eBay, and then you just went to Instagram?
So kind of I thrifted. Well, I've been thrifting my whole life. Like my mom taught me, right? Like I can't buy anything full price. It has to be like on sale or on clearance or like secondhand is grand, you know? So my mom has an eBay shop and she's been selling on eBay since I was in high school. So check her out on eBay at Mama Llama MC, Mama with 1L. She did eBay. I sold some stuff on eBay like before I moved to the city, and I have a Poshmark account and I've sold like 2 things on Poshmark. I don't really get Poshmark, but I am exclusively an Instagram reseller at this moment. And how I came to decide to do that was very organic. Taylor's oldest time, like it started in quarantine. You know, I cannot even tell you the first like Instagram thrift account that I found. And I don't know how it winded up in my feed. I don't know. Like the algorithm god sent it to me. But I discovered a thrift store Instagram, and I just had never seen anything like it or heard. And so like I just started finding these, and then I just like once you follow one, you know, it just kind of just like here's more, and then all of a sudden it's just like your whole feed, and I'm just like, this is fun. I could do this. And the reason I like it is because it's so much more personal. You make connections with people. I find that on Instagram, like I don't like sourcing is different, and just like the stuff that I choose to sell is different. And I what I like about it is that on Poshmark or eBay, you have to go to these sites and like type in like, okay, I'm looking for my favorite pair of like American Eagle skinny jeans size 8. Like, and you're looking for that, you know. But on Instagram, you're just in like a scroll vortex, like we all are, and it pops up in front of your face, and you're like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna like bid on that. So it's like instead of going to look for these things, they're just right there in front of you, which is one of the things I liked about Instagram as a platform. So I can sell just like these totally random things. It's like just these random like unisex t-shirts with like a niche print or a design or something. No one's ever gonna like go to try to find that on Poshmark. Like, how do you even describe something so random? But it's like you scroll onto it and you're like, I never knew I needed that. I do need it. And then you're just on the page and so many things. So I don't do I want to do Poshmark, but it's just so intimidating. I feel like I might be like one of the only people that you guys are going to talk to that just does not do Poshmark. I don't know.
I kind of, now that you explain it that way, I think that's kind of cool because you're picking up things. It's a different way to look at it. You know what I mean? You're picking up things that normally people wouldn't. Maybe the Passover. I mean, listen, guys, Lauren's drops are amazing. And I'm so glad I've seen them like pop up. Like they're popping off now, like all the time. Like I go to bid on stuff and something's already been. But she does find like those things, even as someone who sources, I think like sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in like, is this going to sell on this platform because it's this brand or this brand? And then you kind of like forget about those gems that you do find. And at the end of the day, like we're all just trying to be sustainable and give life to a clothing item a second time around. So I think that's really cool.
One of the main differences in terms of sourcing when it comes to reselling on Instagram versus Poshmark, I actually tried to like verbalize this the other day, is that I look for things when I source. I see things like I see their value subjectively, and whereas someone who strictly resells for Poshmark might see something's value objectively. So like instead of like looking for like bolo brands or all these things, if something catches my eye, like I like this pattern, I like this cut, it doesn't matter to me if it's like Old Navy. I like it. I know someone else will like it. So I get it. Or like a no brand something, or just, I always like, it has to thrill me. And I say that constantly. Like I'll be thrifting with my mom and she'll pick up something. She's like, oh, this is a good brand. And it might be a great brand, but I'm like, it doesn't thrill me. I wouldn't wear it. I don't like it. So I'm not going to sell it. Even if like objectively the brand has value, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Me and Kia's had conversations about that too, because like Kiaya will get stuff that doesn't sell for, like, people don't come to closet for mine, but she sells it, and like same with me. So I think everybody is
a style person. Like I don't go by brands. I definitely try to stay up on the brands, but I do not, like, if it's appealing to me, like if it attracts my eye when I walk in the store, like if it could be in a crowded rack, if it sticks out and I see it, then that means that's something I'm going to get. And I'm telling you, I buy brands that I've never even heard of, like a Duck brand. Like it's this jacket. If you guys take a look at my Poshmark closet, it's this plus size jacket, and it's like pink and green and like some kind of funky looking pattern. And then the brand it says Duck, and I was like, I never even like Duck, like quack quack, and I was just like, I never heard of this before. But someone, I had two of them. And they were plus size, and I guess it was kind of rare, different, and decent, because I had someone actually buy it from me, and they were Alpha Kappa Alpha, and that's their color, pink and green. And she's a plus size, and she was like, "Oh my god, like this is so decent, like I have to have this," and she wanted to buy it. And I was like, I wouldn't wear it, me personally, but it is something that attracts me, and I'm just like, I like that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I get stuff. Like, I don't have an aesthetic in my closet. Like, I see a lot of people have it. It works for some people, but I have to have like different of everything. So I want everybody to be able to shop at my closet.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I think being size inclusive is really important. And also speaking on that size inclusivity goes both ways, both plus size and the smaller sizes, which I have found is like, obviously, like it's a challenge for like mid-size fashion and plus size fashion in the thrifting world. But I also try to discourage comment, like, if I post something that's like a size 2 and people are like, oh my gosh, like I wish I could fit, like take one of my arms, I'm just like, no, really, like you're beautiful. Like this size 2 dress is for the size 2 girl that like loves it, and then I have this for you and that fits you. So I really try to do like a range of sizes both ways. And yeah, I mean, like style, I in terms of, it just has to like speak to me. I don't know. I just have to like it. I'm also that bitch who will like be at Salvation Army, and like if it's not the half off color price tag, like I won't even look at it,
Oh, she cheap like me.
I think that's really cool. I never even realized that you kind of do that too, because I Instagram stalk like every time you have drops and stuff like that. Because I do love that you just find these pieces all the time. I was just telling her before you hopped on, Kiaya, that I was like really mad she had this Monstera booby shirt, she was calling it, with like the plants right here, and I was like, oh, someone just binned it. I was like, oh man. But you find
can't
like
neglect
these like
the bin, baby. People bin.
Oh yeah, when in doubt, bin it out. But like you find that, but I never even realized that you say those comments, because people do come and they'll be like, oh, I wish like if I could fit this, or if this is my size. And I like that you're saying like that's just for that person, but I have something for you.
Yeah.
That's because we're all about being inclusive in here and having a space for everybody and everybody coming to the table and shine. So I think that's an awesome way to run your business, because people, like you said, you create those personal connections with someone. I had a quick question, because I know a lot of people are now getting, I almost like sound like a boomer, like getting hit to this Instagram selling thing, but people genuinely want to do that. I have tried, and I don't think I think I fell on my face on that, and it just it's a whole other animal, whole other way of doing things. But when you decided to do that, so when you decided to just do exclusively Instagram, did you have to kind of create like back work before you started a drop? Like, did you have to take time with like what you would say is like connecting or like networking with other like sellers, or like creating a brand kind of thing? Like,
I'd say I spent like a solid month and a half just lurking. like so like I said earlier, I instantly knew the name. So I went ahead and like got the handle, because how like as soon as you think of something, you're like, someone else is gonna think of this. Like I have to make it a thing, even though it's like no one's gonna think of Pigeon City Thrift. But I just got the handle, right? And I spent, let's see, so my first drop was the last day of July in 2020. So I think the whole process started like mid-June. So it's like a month and a half of me just lurking on other Instagram pages and kind of like piecemeal, like taking things that I liked. So I would be, and I like would buy like a few things. Like I would bid on a few things from different pages, because I wanted to see how they handled the process, like how they responded to me when I won a bid, like how their packaging was, and just like kind of like taking these little breadcrumbs. So I would like be like on one page, oh, I like how they structure their drops, or I like how they take their photos, and just this kind of like potpourri of little tidbits that I borrowed from like tons of these pages that I found to make my own little thing. It's like, this is what I like. And then I have and it just took that month to decide like what I wanted the business to be. I decided I wanted it to be local, as local as I could keep it. I take in donations from people around the city because I have a car. So one of the big perks is I can be like, hey, I'll come pick up your donations for you. Like, you don't have to lug them to Salvation Army. And so then I like look through them and like source what I want. And then, but instead of donating back to Salvation Army, I found a specifically like city local charity that accepts clothing. And to make my logo, I went with one of my friends who is a local artist, and 10% of all of my profits from my drops go to a local charity. And I just kind of wanted to recenter it around the New York City brand, the Pigeon City Thrift brand. I wanted it to take from New York City, but also give back to New York City. So that's what I wanted to do. But no, it took like a month and a half to kind of just gather up like the clothing that I wanted to do for the first drop, to buy like the steamer, to like, I bought my dress form secondhand from like the fashion district, and my boyfriend and I like carried it home in a black trash bag on the subway, and it looked like a body. Then on July 31st, Pigeon City Thrift took flight, but I did not just like hop on and just like start selling stuff. Like that would have been a different way of like, going with the flow. But it took like a solid month and a half of like getting things ready. A month before I opened, I started the Instagram, and I was just like, here's what it is. Start following me. And it's like, as I figured things out, I was like, here's my logo. Here's when the drops will be. Dang. No, I mean, like, I do have to thank, I have a lot of gratitude for the Instagram resellers that came before me, because like I was saying, like I would just take the business that I am is like pieces of all these businesses that I admire.
I think that makes perfect sense. And I think that is, there's so many things that you said that I just love about that, like staying local and, taking the New York brand, but also giving back to New York City. I think like people just think you can kind of jump on it, but I think having that kind of method to the madness, or learning from other people. It's the same way if you're on Poshmark, right? They're trying to learn from each other, right? Mm-hmm. About like how to list stuff, or like photographs you should take. But that is very true. And like just I think that's great to like, buy a few things and see how that process is from the other side of the table. I appreciate that, because I think I just
like a secret shopper situation.
I feel like people are like Instagram, now with it, being like having the actual shop on there and stuff now too, that you can connect. I think people are really trying to float over there, and they really are kind of like, well, I did this drop and I have this X amount of followers, but it's not working. So I think that's a gem right there, to be like, you got to have some sort of research into it, just like any other business, right?
Instagram is just like a whole new world. I mean, when I just had a regular Instagram like social profile, I had like no concept of all the things. Instagram is a business tool. Like, it is legitimate. And then when I started this, and I like, told my mom about it, and my mom was like, well, now I have to get an Instagram because I want to support you. And just to like, she didn't have an Instagram before. So just like someone with like no Instagram experience, just downloading the app, I was just like, I realized that it's kind of hard. Like, I feel like as millennials, we just like know how to do things. Like, we're just like, because we came up with it. And Instagram is a really it's a simple thing, but there's like a lot of little complexities to it. There's like hashtags, and there's times of day that are like peak posting times, and
Let's not talk about that algorithm.
I don't even understand the algorithm. Like, I lay awake at night trying to figure out the algorithm. I'm like,
I think
do they
it's
like
ever
my post? Do they
changing.
save my post? Like, I can't make people comment. Like, I don't know how to.
I think we're all in the same boat with the algorithm. It's a love-hate relationship.
Yes.
Can I say something that blew my mind? You guys mentioned it in maybe like your first or second episode, but it was just kind of like a throwaway thing. And you were like, yeah, people respond to their own story questions. And I was like,
oh yeah.
I think that blew my mind too.
I was like, oh my God, like they do. Because like I would do that and then be like, hi, like tell me what photo you want to see from my camera. And like nobody gives a shit. So nobody's like answering me. And then all these other people are just like, tell me more about your business. Well, and then they just like go off and like they're writing those questions themselves. I just never, I don't know. I don't want to do it. It makes me feel like
yeah, I think you're also in the same group that we would never do that. But we also talk about, you know, people like taking pictures of their packages, and it's like, is that box even full of something, or is it like, or Kaya,
do it for the gram?
yeah, or you said Kaya last night is like it could be like literally the smallest item in a huge box.
You just don't know. It's hard to, you compare yourself. People compare themselves a lot, especially with Instagram. Everything is, physical, it's visualized, so that you just feel like, oh, I have to do that to get that. And then it's the incentives too. Like, I really am not, I don't do the, like, I don't buy followers. I try not to do like the gain trains and stuff to get that, because I want you to come on my page because you want to see my content. That's why I want you to, be one of the followers, but I don't even want to call you a follower because I'm not a leader, like
right.
Quote that from Leslie, a Reseller's Passion, because, we're all a community. So I want you, that's why I say my friends. So I want people to be a friend of mine on Instagram because they like what I see. They like my funny TikToks. They like watching my kids run amok all the time and me record that and have you guys see it. But Instagram, they dangle this stuff in front of you like, oh, if you reach this amount of followers, you get this. And honestly, I only want 10K because I want the swipe up feature. Like, that's it. Like, that's all I want is a swipe up feature.
Is that what you need to get that? Is 10,000?
You need 10,000. You need to have 10,000 followers to get that feature. And that's the only reason why I want it, because I feel like when you tell people like, oh, the link is in my bio, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of steps to get to that versus if I got the swipe up right here, you can just easily get to what I'm trying to tell you. So that's the only thing I'm just like, that's all I want. But I want the 10K to be real.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point, Lauren, because do you feel like, so at least for me, not being a direct Instagram seller, I can kind of push the apps or the platforms to the background. I don't even have to open them. But with Instagram being like such an everyday function, do you feel like that impacts you like a little bit more because your business is on Instagram? So I'm asking like, because I'm genuinely interested in like a mental health aspect, like how that would impact
time, like basically.
Yeah, what's your
screen into your iPhone? How long have you been on the screen?
I don't want to check my screen time, but oh my gosh, the 2020 screen time. Like, oh my God, peak quarantine. I think my iPhone thought I died because they were like, girl, last week you walked like 4,000 steps and today you did 27. Are you okay? I don't want to check my screen time. But I have had discussions with other like friends who, like do content on Instagram. And there is definitely like, I don't think it's specific to business, but like sort of like a social media pressure where it's like, if I don't post, I feel obsolete, which is sort of a fallacy, because at the end of the day, and I remind myself of this constantly, at the end of the day, no one is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself. And
preach,
which sounds mean, but it's actually like a good thing to remind yourself, because you're like, oh my God, like someone's going to think this post is lame. Someone's going to be like, why hasn't she posted today? Her business must be failing. It's like, no one's sitting there thinking about that. I'm the only one thinking about that. But to run a business on Instagram, I do feel some pressure. Is like, if I don't post every day, if I don't make these reels that get so many views, like I like feel obsolete, which isn't true. But it's just kind of like the mental game that social media kind of fools us all into. One of my Actually, it's more of a relief when I'm in the middle of a drop, because I have content and I have so much engagement and I'm able to be like commenting and like there's fun stuff going on. It's the times in between, it's the days in between my drops where I feel like I should be posting content that's just cute or funny or engaging, and that is essential for an Instagram business. But it weighs on my mind like almost like a burden. Like I'm just like, I have to post something or people are going to forget about me, or I still haven't figured out reels because I'm a grandmother at heart, and I'm just like, people are going to start unfollowing me because there's like no reels. And it's stuff that I have to talk myself out of, for sure. Like I said, it's not specifically for business pages. Like I felt, I don't know, like even on my personal Instagram, sometimes I feel like I haven't posted in 2 months. Like if I don't post this artsy picture of a leaf, people are gonna assume I'm dead. Like
I was just about to ask you that. So you have no, not about you dying. You have personal
when
Instagram
is that
along
happening?
with your thrift Instagram. Do you really like differentiate the two? So like, do you like really not post anything about like any self pictures or like life on your business? And do you not post like anything about your business on your personal?
I don't keep them like entirely exclusive. But they are separate things. One of the things that I want to sort of work on is putting more of myself into my business page. That kind of goes along with the anxieties of social media. Like I'm not super comfortable putting myself in posts or putting myself in reels or like modeling my pieces. Like Caitlin does like an amazing job like modeling all of her pieces, and it's like a cloud over my head. I'm just like, I don't want to do it. But that does help with engagement. It helps with personalizing your business page. It's something I want to work on. You can find, obviously, like there are huge traces of me on my business page. Like you know what I look like, how, like what I sound like, like all this stuff. But I'm not posting a lot of personal like information. I'm not posting like, I don't know, political beliefs and opinionated things. And then on my personal page, when I was first starting the business, I like spammed all my friends and I just like, follow me. And I did a lot more of like crossover at the beginning. And like I'll still like advertise like for my drops, I'll like repost on my personal page. But honestly, like most of the people that I actually have a connection with on my personal page, they already follow my business page. So I think for the most part, to like kind of round out your question, I keep them mostly exclusive, but there's like a Venn diagram like in the middle, like a mix of me in both of those. I do want to like work on putting more of like my face into my brand, which is like an anxiety that I have.
Lauren, I want to say, because I feel like, right, for the guests that me and Kiaya have had on this podcast so far, this is now like episode 8, everybody has come to the table with that same concern. And so I think that's like a general thing that everybody has anxiety. People tell me, like she said that, oh, you're so good. I'm like, yeah, but and Kiaya knows this because I sent her voice memos of me being like 5 different feelings in 2 minutes. Like, everybody has anxiety about that because I always say, like, you let the good, bad, and ugly in. So when you open those things, you're going to have awesome people. Like, if I wasn't authentic, like, I probably would have never met Kiaya. I probably would have never met you. Like, you meet the good people, but then you're also going to have those people that are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they don't understand. You know what I mean? And to touch back on your point, too, I think that's, like, with social media, right? And that's totally a thing. And especially with kids, like, right now, it used to be like us growing up, like we'd go to school and maybe we would have issues, but then we could go home and we were away from it. But now kids don't really have that escape because they got social media. I feel like as an adult, that is also something that can happen in business. When you run your own business, when you run a business online, it's like you could still have that same thing where you can't really get out of the hole. So, but I think that's a genuine thing. I don't think you're alone in that. And I think you got to process it how you process it. And honestly, like the whole modeling thing for me has come from more of a point of just me getting more comfortable with my own body and what I struggle with. So I don't really view it as in like, I want to make dope pictures, obviously. But it's more of like it's a way for me to process and get a healthier relationship with my body, and how I view it. So I think if you just are like doing something that's good for you, and it comes from a genuine place like that, you want to learn more about yourself, people see that. And like you said, people aren't sitting there all day like talking shit about you all day. Like you're probably doing it more than other people.
Exactly. Like, where is this idea coming from? Like, no one cares. Like, that's like, and that is something that's like a personal decision, and I think you do a great job with that. But yeah, that also, like, in terms of modeling clothes, it's like, it also comes back to the size inclusivity, because I'm just one size, and so like I don't want to just sell things that fit me. And it's like, I don't know, it's like I can't model everything. I have my dress form here.
I think that's important. Well, I feel like people do it because you want to give the person, the customer, like this is what it would look like on a person, like that reason you want to give that. But it's hard.
That's another reason why I want to try to introduce that, because I do like notice that like people sell like when it's on a human body. Like I get that, which is why I try to do my best in terms of like my photographing and my staging, to be like, here's how you could style it, or here's how you could style it, or here's how you could style it,
I love seeing pictures like that though. When people when the business takes the time to show like different styles with it. We have another friend from Philly, Jay. She does that a lot on her TikTok and on her social media. She buys like a lot of vintage items, and she shows like, this is what it would go, this is like a good style. And I'm like, okay, like I will probably buy that now, because now that you show me like how I can wear it, I like that when the business takes that extra step to be like, it'll go good with these jeans or this purse or this bag, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. If I can take like a generic like unisex t-shirt that just has Monstera on your boobs, like Monstera leaves on your boobs, but I'm gonna put it over a floral dress and I'm gonna tie it up like this, and now you're gonna buy it for $20, where it's like before it was just like a t-shirt, But some people do gorgeous flat lays, and just like the setup I have in my apartment doesn't really allow me to do that.
Yeah, I'm like kind of socially stalking your business page right now, and your pictures are impeccable. Like I love the pictures. Like this is attracting to me. Like I would buy from a store like this. Like I love the brick wall. It's simple. I feel like a lot of people, they get hung up on pictures and they need to have all of this stuff and this and that. And I'm just like, a simple, like, I just want to see the item. I don't want to see all the props that you have with it and stuff like that. Like that's cute and good, but if I want to buy something, I don't want it to be surrounded by all these other things. And I'm just like, just a simple item on the dress form with the plain background. Like it looks very New Yorkish.
With my exposed brick wall. Thank you.
I love that though. It looks very, very good. Very good, Lauren. I love it.
Lauren, I also like how you do when you do the post. It's not just like, here's the full picture. You kind of entrance people to swipe, because you'll pick up those little tiny like and I find it myself. I'm like, ooh, wait, what is this?
Yeah, it attracts your eye, doesn't it?
And it pulls you to swipe. So I'm like, she knows
what she's doing. So, okay, I don't know anything about like bids or bins. So like when you guys just started referring to that, I had to like really go look up, okay, what does that mean? Um so like how does it work with, you know, selling items on here? Like if someone wants to buy, okay, I'm assuming that BIN is buy it now, correct? Yeah. Okay. So when someone says that on there, like you have to like go back and like, what if like multiple people say it? Like, so it's like first come, first serve, right? How do you keep track of that?
Well, so it's pretty easy to see in terms of notification, like timestamps, who comments first. Only a few times have I had a situation where like people did at the same time, and I would be like, look, this came in 30 seconds before you did, and I just like stick to that. But yeah, I mean, it's first come, first serve, and this is another thing that I kind of like had to decide how I wanted to run things when I was like working on opening up my page. Like some sellers do 24-hour auctions from the time like the first bid is placed, and then it's 24 hours. Some people do like a set amount of days like I do. Some people just have set prices. But I decided that I liked the bin method so that people still have the opportunity to get a really nice piece at like a great deal, which would be like the bid method, you know. And then the buy it now appealing because it includes shipping. So like that's kind of more appealing, and it like secures the item for you. So if you were to comment buy it now, and then I would just reply and be like, it's yours, and then I put sold on the item, and then most people, they just see that it's been sold and they don't comment on it anymore. It's been working out pretty well. There are like, and I have the rules, like I have my highlight of like how it works, but people have figured it out pretty well. Like sometimes I get questions like, am I doing this right? The timestamps on especially let's say of my drops on Friday nights, I'm just on my phone, so I'll see them rolling in. So like I'll see like bin, and then like it'll be like 10 seconds ago, and then if someone's like bin like 5 seconds ago, I could be like, oh, you're 5 seconds too late. And then I also keep a close watch on it at the end of the auction on Sunday night. So I have to keep an eye on the notifications close to 8 when I close on Sunday, because some people like come in, I'd be like, did they come in before 8? So I haven't had any discrepancies yet. But
yeah, and I think you set the tone on your page too, where like everyone's pretty respectful to each other. I can't lie, whenever I buy from an Instagram seller, I'm totally that person that goes like, I look at things that are like bidding, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go, I like it, and then I'll go back like before it closes, because I don't want to rush the gun. Like, so
it's strategic. You're like, if I bid now, like they're gonna like raise the bid. We're like, you gotta.
But then it sucks too, because then like I would have done that with, you know, again, the Monstera shirt, but then it was binned right away. So it's like you do kind of lose
baby. You gotta set those reminders.
I'll probably just take the chance and just go bin it. Like I'm not bidding. I'll probably just, if I really like it, I'll buy it. Like I'm just gonna do it.
I love that mood too. Like I love, some of my customers are just like bin. Like I'm like, damn girl, like you are on that. I love
it. With that. I see a lot of people bidding your stuff, and that's a good thing. Again, I think you draw people in with the items, and I always look at your stuff and I'm like, if I put that on my Poshmark, it'd be up for like 78 days after
See, and that's exactly what goes back to like what I spoke on earlier when I was like, the difference between Poshmark and Instagram. It's like, you're not going to go to, you didn't even know that like Monstera shirt existed. You're not going to go to Poshmark and type that in, but you're scrolling and it comes to you. And so then you're like, I want that, but you didn't know that you wanted that before.
So do you like that idea of having like a theme into a drop, or do you just like having a collective drop?
I think for me, I just do like an eclectic drop each week. I did a Halloween drop and I did a Valentine's Day drop, but I kind of just use that as an excuse to do like a big drop it's like sort of themed. But it's like for my Halloween one, there was like 2 things that were like specifically Halloween, and the rest were just like black and like lacy and like spooky. And for my Valentine's Day drop, there was like 2 things with hearts on it, and the rest were like blushes and florals and reds and stuff. My excuse to do that, I don't do theme drops every week like some sellers do, and I do like have such respect for sellers that do like curated themed drops every week. That's and it looks great, but I for me tend to just go through my inventory and pull, like, obviously I stick to seasons seasonally. I'm not going to be selling bathing suits at the moment, but just stuff that I don't really know if I have like a complete method to it. I just like, okay, I want to do this week and this and this and this. I source that week and like excited about these new pieces I found. They go in, or if I got new donations and I have like, so generally, no, I don't do themed drops. I pull things that I feel look good together. I don't know. You just
don't overthink it. I like that.
Don't overthink it. I pull things that I feel like I want to take pictures of and sell. I know there's so much value in secondhand denim. Like there's so many bolo brands out there, and like I don't fuck with jeans. I don't know. I just can't. They do not thrill me. I can't put them on my mannequin. I cannot style them. I think they're boring to take pictures of. I will I know nothing about jeans. Like, we'll pass up a $200 pair of jeans. I just don't know.
Do you feel like you get like a lot of repeat customers?
So many repeat customers that I'm a little concerned. Like, I need new customers. Like, they're gonna get tired of me. I get a lot of repeat customers. I get new customers every week, but the majority are people that have purchased from me before. And most of these people I've never met in person, but I know them and I know what they like to wear. Like there'll be things I'll post and it'll be like, oh, so-and-so is going to bin this. Like I know they are, which I love. It's like, if you let me fill up your closet, I'm here, but I do want to work on getting new customers as well, because I don't want to like reach a threshold where my customers are like, I have enough clothes, I don't want to spend any more money with you. Which, when does that happen? When are we ever done spending money?
Right. It's almost come from a place where you're like, I'm concerned for your budget. Like,
it's just like, I'm looking at your finances here, ma'am. And
our Venmo transactions clearly state.
I'm grateful for that. I have I printed out like a blank like map.
Oh, the state map where you sell to? I love doing that.
Yeah, I fill in states as I sell to them. Still looking for you, Alaska. Still looking for you. I'm like, how do I get someone from Alaska to buy from me? Right. So I'll like
go word of mouth.
I go.
Someone's gonna buy, and the Pigeon City thrift is just gonna go all over. I'm telling you, that's how you're gonna get new customers. Someone's gonna be like, "Where'd you get that?" And they're gonna be like, "Pigeon City thrift." I'm like, where's that? New York. Oh, do you went to New York? No, they're on Instagram. Baby. Oh, what's their Instagram? Pigeon City thrift. Okay, yeah. And then it's gonna pass and pass and pass. It's just that's how you're gonna get it.
Heck yeah, that's what I love. Here's what I've been doing. It's like, how do I find? I don't know anyone in Utah. I don't know anyone in Hawaii or Alaska. So I just like go and like kind of stalk the hashtags, and I'll look up like Alaska thrift, right? Okay. And then I'll find users.
Shantae was just talking about that on episode 4.
I will like search for these hashtags like Alaska thrift or like thrifting Alaska, and I'll find people that live in Alaska, and I'll follow them, and then I'll start like liking their stuff, so that they'd be like, who is this Pigeon City thrift?
It's smart.
And I'm just like planting little seeds, and eventually it's gonna work. And eventually it's gonna work. Smart, though. And someone is gonna buy from Alaska is gonna buy from me. But it hasn't happened yet. But I'm
gonna pick your brain here, and there's no like right answer. What would you say is like a challenge, because I know that you just started the Instagram this year, but what would you say there has been like challenges that would maybe be a little bit different if you started in a different year?
Honestly, I don't think this business would have ever happened had it not been for the year that 2020 was. Like before the pandemic, I was a bartender, and, you know, that industry was basically dissolved. And, you know, like, so I haven't had a job since March 15th of last year. But you know what? I've been working since I was 16. And I feel like, you know, 2020 gave me, well, and like a lot of millennials that I know, because a lot of us have been working since we were 16, 15, 16, 17, you know, paying our bills, you know, student loan debt and all that stuff. And at least I can speak for me and like a lot of my friends, is that 2020 opened a very unique door for people who didn't know anything other than working to pay their bills. And I'm not, you know, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, it was such a blessing, because I know that like so many people lost so many things over 2020. And it was like super challenging for people. But from a silver linings perspective, it allowed me to really step back and be like, I don't like working for other people. I don't really want to be a bartender 5 days a week, but like that's all I knew. It's like you work, you need to make money, you need to pay your bills. And then the world turned upside down. And I never had the opportunity to really sit back and be like, paycheck aside, what would I like to do? Because otherwise, I never would have come up with this. I never would have had the time to do it. And I feel like that's like so many stories have been like that. I started a business, or like I did this, or I went back to school. And it's just like, as many things as 2020 took away from us, I think people found really interesting things as well. And it kind of opened doors that previously were just not an option. Do you feel that? Like, you know what I mean?
I think I think you can relate to this too, being in, I mean, obviously New York City is a bigger city than Philly, but you know, with it not, there's just something about when you live in a city like that, like you live there because it's like, it's got this something you're connected to. It's got that city vibe, right? And then
like, go.
Yeah. And also being a millennial, like I've talked about this, like toxic work culture that I'm like horrible at. I think, you know, between that go, and people were a lot of forced to either just stop and take a moment and maybe like spend time with themselves. Because I think a lot of people overwork, especially millennials. So like we grew up where it's like, oh, our feelings don't really matter, and we just like hide it in the background. So if we just like work continuously, you don't ever have to stop and work on yourself. And you don't have to like confront the issues that you need to work on, like personally as a human being. So I think that kind of forced people into a place between quarantine, social justice movements, everything going on. People kind of had to like get to know themselves.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's funny, joke like 2020, but like I've heard it so many times recently, like that is living through a pandemic is trauma. Like that is hard for people. Like people don't realize that is a traumatic experience. I think it just offered the opportunity to like start businesses and stuff. But I think out of it, I saw a lot of people grow personally. And I was going to ask that too, because definitely like, inspiration from working like from my now 2021 projects of doing the 10%, like that was very heavily inspired by you donating back to your city every month in your business, and being like, okay, what am I doing to like back up what I do? So can you tell me like a little bit more about why you chose, like why would you choose that, or kind of like what kind of made that decision for you to like donate that?
It's something that I knew very early on that I wanted there to be a charitable aspect to my business. There's like a sense of almost like imposter syndrome when you like are like starting like a new endeavor. Like, why would people want to buy from me? Why do I have, what gives me the right? You know what I mean? So I knew very early on that I wanted this to be more than just profitable for me, because I feel like we're in a time and like a season, so to speak, where if you have the resources, if you have the ability to give back or help in some way, then you have a responsibility to give back. And it's like when I look at the purchases that I make, like every, you know, what would they say? Like every dollar you spend is a vote that you make, you know. I know personally if there's two businesses that are selling the exact same thing, right? For the exact same price, but this one donates some part of the profit to something, I want to go with that one because like it's bigger than just that business. So I felt that I wanted my business to be more than just me. I felt that I had, because I have the privilege of being able to get the business off the ground and actually be successful with it, then I felt a responsibility to give some of that back. I don't know. I just feel like in this day and age, it's like if I can, then I should. And in specifically in wanting to keep it with like the New York City theme, like that's kind of the brand, I wanted to give back to things within the community. And the first 4 months, I gave back to an organization called Restore that helps survivors of sex trafficking within the city. And I donated 10% of all my profits to them, and I gave them some. Also was like in communication with them about like if they needed any clothing. Like so much clothing passes through my hands that I don't sell. It's like, tell me what you need and I'll find it for you. And then I also like, I'm not trying to make any political statements about Goodwill or Salvation Army, but they are for-profit companies. So in terms of like the overflow donations that I get, I didn't just want to give it back to Salvation Army and Goodwill. I do give some things back to Salvation Army, but it's stuff that I know that like shelters don't want, you know. But I connected with a really inclusive church in the city that has a closet for at-risk LGBTQ plus youth, and so I donate my overflow clothing to them. I try to do good where I can. I always feel like I could do more, you know, but like I try to do what I can. And I haven't yet announced what organization that I'm the profits are going to this few months because I'm still kind of in like I'm still like sending some emails, but
hell yeah. I love everything that just came out of you. You know, it's you have a business, that's cool, but like, you know, doing, you know, that being inspired by you by the donations, because I'm the same way. Like, oh, I want to like go to the store that donates to this. Or for me, I like also choosing a different organization every month because then I feel like I'm learning about something. And there's still a lot of stuff that I can learn about. Because I'm just a human being. I'm not perfect. I haven't lived in everybody else's footsteps. So it's my responsibility to kind of learn. I think that blew my mind with just the whole fact of like where you redonate your clothes also is a thing. When you said dollars are like votes, I was like, yes, girl. Like I subscribe to that. And it just makes you feel more fulfilled.
It kind of like eases the anxiety of like the voice in the back of your head, like, why am I doing this? Like what gives me the right? Like why would people, that's another thing, is like why would people buy from me over somebody else? And I feel like incorporating a charitable aspect of that is just, I don't know, I just feel like if you can, then you should.
Yeah, or even I always feel like too that if you can't financially do it, there are other ways to do it.
I was just about to say that. It doesn't even have to be monetary.
why we started this podcast was to bring people on to learn from their experiences. We will bring people on that have 5 followers. We'll bring people that have 10,000 followers. We'll bring people on that are, come from different platforms. We just want to create a space where everyone can come to the table. Because I genuinely feel like everybody can learn something from everybody. We have cool stuff coming up.
I think that okay, so I have been playing with this idea because obviously I'm in a New York City apartment, so clothes are easy because they can like fit
Compact.
into bins, but I love the thrift accounts with stuff, right? Because I'm a thrifter. Like I said, I'm a thrifter at heart. It's in my bones. So I can't go to a thrift store if I find a really cute coffee mug. I can't not buy it. So, and I find cute little things. So I think that I'm gonna start doing this thing, and I'm toying with the idea. But I think I'm gonna call it Mug Monday or Miscellany Monday, where on Monday I post for sale a unique hard good, because I've been picking up little things here and there, but I don't have the storage space to make that my shop. It's gonna be clothes. It's always gonna be mostly clothes because that's what I like to do, and that's what I have a lot of. But I think I'm gonna do these little weekly highlights of these little things that you could buy. A bunch of cute mugs. I have weird little trinket dishes. It's stuff that I find at thrift stores that I'm I can't leave this, but I don't need it. Yes. Bric-a-brac shelves, those are me and my mom's favorite. But that's what she sells on eBay. She sells hard goods, mugs and plates and stuff. Usually we kind of have a tag team situation where it's something doesn't sell on Instagram for me, but it's a good brand like Madewell or Free People. She'll just take my pictures and put it on her eBay shop. And then if it sells for her, she'll just email me the label and I'll ship it from. So we're kind of a little duo.
I like that.
I've also been thinking about doing that, kind of playing around with Poshmark, stuff that I know won't sell for me. This is another difference between Poshmark and Instagram, is that people go to Poshmark specifically for things like I mentioned before. But it's no, not a lot of people on my page so far are gonna drop big money on a high-end brand. They might, but like I said, because of the nature of this is kind of window shopping, and so these items are right there, no one's gonna just on a whim decide to spend $200 or something on my Instagram page, okay? But I do find things that I find things for great prices at thrift stores, and I'm I know this is a good brand. I know this has a great reselling value, but I also know that it does not fit my clientele, kind of. I know that they won't. I just know that's not what it is. So I have been toying with the idea of exploring Poshmark for the items that don't sell on my drops because I don't know, because they're too expensive or something. And then also items that I specifically find that I that I'm I know it's a high-end brand. I know no one's going to pay that on my Instagram, but someone might go looking for it on Poshmark. But that's just it's kind of intimidating because like I said, I don't know anything about Poshmark. You guys have a bunch of tips and tricks and secrets, and also thought about, I see a bunch of people do the thread up send in things, but that seems I don't know, a lot. Like I said, I've been a fly on the wall for a lot of I'm just observing, seeing what other people do. You gotta find what works for you, because for me, I love doing the Instagram thing. It's straightforward, it's personal. Some people are killing it on Poshmark, some people rock Depop. Gosh, I don't know who said it. One of your guests was I stopped using the words we and I started saying me because I'm the only one running this business.
Margaret.
I don't remember who said that, but one of your guests said that.
Margaret, yeah, she comes.
But I was damn, because I do that. I'm always just like, we've got a great job, because I wanted to seem more like an official business. But I'm like, no, she's so right. Like, it's just me. Like, this is not a corporation. Like, we didn't run anything up the flagpole to the higher ups. Like, and I was just like, okay, yeah, you're right. That really like resonated with me. I was like, you're right. Like, I didn't realize until I started this. It's like kind of the pattern of my working life is that like I work at a place until I start to resent it, and then I quit. Um, even if I like love the job, eventually working for someone else for me is going to brew resentment. And so I love being able to do this myself, you know. And I love thrifting, and I love going shopping, and I love like looking through clothes that people donate. And my least favorite part about it all is like editing the photos and like writing the captions, which I think everyone is like, that's kind of like the listing aspect that everyone kind of like has
Everyone
like kind
hates.
of a motivation issue with. So that's like the Instagram version is like, and also I'm such a bad procrastinator, like since forever, like school age. I've always done it. It's like I have a whole week to take these pictures and to edit these pictures and to write these captions. But does your girl do it before Thursday and Friday? No, she doesn't.
But I do have a question for you, because if you were talking to somebody that like just today, like brand new, have a piece of advice that you feel like you would want someone to like kind of tell you when you started?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have like had a friend who, you know, saw what I was doing and then just like, this is so cool. Like, I want to do this. I think it's just to like find your brand, you know, like what I touched on earlier was just like what I have is like a jigsaw puzzle of pieces that I collected like from other places. In that sense, I didn't copy anybody, but I was like, I like this, I like this, I like this, and like make my own brand. Find like speak in your own voice. That sets you apart from other resellers. You know, it's like I might really admire your closet, but that's your closet. I don't want mine to be like yours, but I do like this way that you format your captions or whatever. Or it's like, for this page, I like the borders that you use. And it's one of the things I said to my friend, Brittany started her own Instagram thrift shop after I did. And she was like, I don't want to copy your idea. And I was like, girl, you're not copying my idea. Every idea that I had for my page came from inspiration from others. And I just kind of like put them together in like a thing that is like now me. So like I'm just like a collection of things that I admire from others, and then like kind of like tuning that to be my brand. So I think my advice to circle back is just to like find your own voice and, you know, like put your name on it, you know, like put your own brand on it, find pieces that you like, and then, but, you know, like put your voice in it. It's like, and that's another thing to speak on, like, it's really easy to get envious of other people's accounts or jealous and to be like, they have more followers, they're getting more comments, they like, why should I do this if they have, you know, like, who's going to buy from me? It's like, the end of the day, we all have landfills to empty, you know? So it's like, there's no need for competition because there's enough shit to go around. We all have landfills to empty, you know? Like, you're not my competition, you're my community. There's just no right way to do things, is what I would say. I mean, there are wrong ways to do things, but in terms of, you know, like figuring out, you know, how you want to set up your business model and how just take pieces of what you like and put it together. It's like a buffet. Just like make things your own, you know? And even like when I first started out, I would like reach out and ask people, be like, I love the graphics you make. Like, can you please tell me like what app you use? And like it was like kind of took me a minute to have the courage to be like, no, they're gonna reject me. It's like they don't even know me. Like they can answer or they can't, but like a lot of it, more than not, it was like very welcoming and be like, oh yeah, I use this, and this. Thank you so much. You know, and now like I'll just jump on people's DMs and be like, hey, your grid is beautiful. That's all. Bye. Like, and it just like makes people feel good. There's always room for growth, you know? So I don't know everything, but I've learned some things along the way and I'm willing to learn more. So
thank you guys so much for coming back and hanging out with Caitlin and I on another episode of Flip That Jawn. We hope that you enjoyed listening and receiving all the golden gems of Instagram selling with Lauren just as much as we did. We hope it provided you with some food for thought to keep you growing on your own journey. Next week, come along with us to discuss another topic with our guest, Rhonda, at the Pink Diva Studio on Instagram, as she discusses her reselling journey and the impact the reselling community has provided for her. We know it will surely spark some interesting discussions as we talk about life as resellers. As always, thank you for listening and learning with me and Caitlin. Let us know what you want to hear next and leave us a review, and don't forget to subscribe to Flip That Jawn.